Right now. Okay, so we're on. Okay, so thank you guys for sending me emails. That was nice. And did you scan this and send it to me? Yeah. Is that how you did it? Well, that's really nice. Did you just do it from home, from your home scanner and things? Oh, okay. Well, that's been working really famously. It's really good. And so I was thinking we can just work on this today. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you have it with you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said, Lily, it was from 178 through the top of 180. Is that right? Okay. Did you guys get a chance to read it yet? You didn't read it? You read it. Okay. And then you had to do 3 different things with it. What were those things that Ms. Chan asked you to do? She wanted you to identify the main point. Is that one of them? What else did she want you to do? You remember? Yeah, find evidence, right. And then your implications and explain the relation. What was the relation to when you said that? Maybe the evidence. Yeah? Okay, so like the implicate, like what does this mean about our society or to our real life or daily life or something like that? Okay. Okay. So have you guys gotten to do this or you just read it? But you haven't read it yet. But you've read it. But you haven't done this. Right? Okay. So what were some of the different areas that you saw or that Leanne you can see that they talk about illiteracy? So the first one, it talks about it in health, in healthcare, right? And so that's one area that illiteracy really is bad, is because of people who go and see a physician, but they can't read their prescriptions or they can't do those kinds of things. What was another area of life that they talked about the negative aspects of illiteracy? Yeah, could you find them? Yeah, in work, in jobs, right. In the workforce. Good. And then I think maybe there was more than one, but to me I found one other area that it talked about illiteracy a lot in these couple pages. Education. Yeah, and then in education. That's exactly what I thought too. Okay. And so usually for me, I like to do when it asks to get the main point is a result, or finding the main point is a result of knowing the evidence and knowing what the writer is talking about, right? And so usually whatever the writer emphasizes the most is the main point, right? And so so usually you kind of work from the bottom up. You look at the evidence, and then from the evidence you see what the main point is, right? And so I was thinking we can maybe work that way, is we can find the evidence first, and then we can try to come up with a sentence or two to show the main point of what the author was trying to say. And so the way I thought we could do it, which is a little bit different than before or what we normally do, is I thought it would be good if you guys could go to the board and work together, and whatever evidence you find as you go through these paragraphs, like 30% of patients had inadequate functional health literacy, so you would write it on here, right? So that's all the evidence, all the numbers, all the facts and stuff. Do you guys remember what persuasive technique that is? Which one was that? Remember, of the logos, pathos, and ethos, which one was that? Using the numbers. Yeah. And so I felt like this whole paper was just full of the logic arguments, you know? And so why don't you go, you guys can work together. One of you can be the writer, whatever one has a better handwriting, I guess, and one of you can just be the speaker, and you can speak to the person writing, and you come up with evidence for whatever he's saying here about healthcare, the workforce, and education. Is that okay? Because that would be your evidence. That would be the second part. And then from that, we can identify the main point, whatever his main point is. We'll figure it out. Okay, so why don't you guys can go ahead and do that. So take your papers, and you can get a piece of chalk. You can get a big one, you can get a little one, and then you can do that. So just however long it takes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe I'll get out of your way. Or you guys can kind of work separately and one of you can work on the education stuff, and another one can work on the healthcare stuff. Leanna, I'm glad you're doing WF instead of writing out workforce. You don't need to write out the whole word if it's good. So that's good. Are there any words that you don't know or are unfamiliar? Inadequate, this word? Inadequate, it means, Lily, do you know what it means? For something that's inadequate.
Not enough function.
Yeah, it means if you say inadequate, that means it's not enough or not sufficient. It's not good enough. So or not so it means either there's not enough, like inadequate funds or inadequate money supply. So that would mean there's not enough money, or my understanding is inadequate, meaning my understanding is not good enough, right? It's not advanced enough. That's good. And so this guy is an adjective, so it's a describing. It describes, yeah. Now, what about you, Lily? Were there any words that for you were a little bit unfamiliar? No. Leanne, did you have any more words? Like rudimentary, or you guys know? You guys are really familiar with literacy? What literacy is? Okay, good. Good. Well, if there's any more words that you that we talk about or I use that you don't understand, because these are really technical words. This isn't an easy reading at all. So it can be kind of confusing. Okay, so this is really good, and this is really good evidence for whatever turns out to be our main point. Do you guys want to write this down right now, or we can just do the whole thing, and how about you write it down at the end? That might be better. So we have at least 30% of the 2,659 patients had inadequate or not enough functional health illiteracy. 47% of American adults have what? What was it? 47% of American adults have this?
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. Is this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. 90, oh, I see. I thought this was another dollar. I was confused. This is a little line, huh? American adults, 90 million, have only, I get what you're trying to do. Have only rudimentary literacy skills. So they're saying that half of American adults can't read sufficiently, right? And then 50% of the workforce in the U.S. is not literate enough to work in the economy, so that when they go on a job, they don't know what they're doing because they don't know how to, I guess, read to the level they need to, because they can't read well enough. 39.6% did not finish high school. We're working. Oh, sorry. No, I read it too fast. It wasn't you. Oh, okay. What do you mean we're working? They were in jobs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then 78.7% of college graduates held jobs. Oh, I see. So this is comparing these two. I thought that was by itself. So it's saying only 40% who didn't finish high school have jobs, and 80% of those who finish high school have jobs. And then unemployment rate is
7.1.
okay, 7.1%. I see. 7.1% didn't finish high school, and 1.9% have a college degree and don't have a job. So that's a lot. That's a lot less, right? And then the 17% of non-institutional population over the age of 25 has not finished high school. So 17% of people haven't finished high school, and 34% finish high school but they don't attend college. 25% started but didn't finish, and 25% have a college degree. So, what do you think is the author's purpose in presenting all of these facts and all this information? his main concern?
Reading and writing is important in our life.
That reading and writing are important. So maybe we'll do. Can I call this main ideas? Main idea ideas. Okay. Main idea ideas. Okay. So reading and writing are important. Absolutely. That's a huge part. You're fine, Erica. I guess you don't want to come in. Okay, so reading and writing are important. And what is he trying to say about people who don't have this, who don't know how to read or don't know how to write properly? What is he saying about that? That they what? Sorry. Yeah, it'll affect their future. And how will it affect their future? In what ways does it affect people's future based on kind of these statistics? Yeah, and so what about jobs? So if you're illiterate, what happens to your prospect of getting a job? You what? Yeah, so either you won't get a job, right? It'll be harder to find a job. And if you have a job, you're not going to be educated enough to do it well, right? Because this one is the workforce. So that means if it's 50% of the workforce, that means 50% of the people who have jobs. And 50% of the people who have jobs are not literate enough to work in this developing or the current economy, I guess, or did he call it a modern economy? I think that's what he called it. In a modern economy. Yeah. So either you don't get a job, right? Because more people don't have a job who didn't finish high school than who did finish college. But even if you do have a job, you might not be prepared for your job, right? So either you are unemployed or not properly educated. For a job. Okay. And then what about, so that's good for the jobs. What about your health care? How does not being able to read or write affect health care?
Prescription bottles.
Right. And so what happens if you don't understand a prescription bottle? As far as your future, I guess, is concerned, right? one of the quotes at the bottom of 178 says a doctor noted that adults with limited literacy face formidable problems during using the healthcare system. And so, formidable. What is formidable? Yeah. If something is formidable, it's very dangerous. It's very stormy. It's scary. It's very dark and very bleak. Usually, sometimes they say that a storm is going to be formidable. So it's something very scary and something that can really affect you. So formidable problems. So if you think about, okay, so if somebody gets a prescription, they can't read the prescription. So what do? They probably just guess, right? They're like, I think I should take this much and this often. And so they take the wrong dosage. And what can happen to them if they take the incorrect dosage? Yeah, you could get sick. I mean, that's very extreme, but you could get sick, you can die, right? Prescriptions are not a small thing or a light thing. So if you don't know how to properly read and understand your prescriptions, your future is in danger because you might not have a future, kind of, right? You can get very sick, or you can die from taking an incorrect amount of prescription. So maybe incorrect prescription use, I guess. Okay. And then what about we got jobs, healthcare, and then education. What does he talk about with education? It's a little bit more difficult because it's not directly connected to, well, it's somewhat connected to illiteracy, but not directly, I don't think. But that, it seemed to me that a lot, if not most, Americans or people don't have a college degree, right? And so if you don't have a college degree, your level of literacy is a lot lower than somebody who does, right? And that can affect your job, that you have a job, but you're not properly educated for it. Where do people get properly educated? In college, right? If I think about what my literacy level was when I was 17 versus now, after being through so much at school, there's a huge difference between how I read things, how I think about things, and how you're able to analyze and face difficulties or problems or things. And so I think that's the big thing here, is that the people who attend, that not enough people, or not many people, have finished college, so they're not fully literate. have our evidence, we have our main ideas, and so what about a main idea? Do you guys think it would be helpful to maybe try to look at these three areas, right? How it affects people's future, and that reading and writing are important. And just reading this over and taking maybe 2 or 3 minutes to try to write down a main idea? Or do you want to do it together? Yeah, you love being together, huh? Okay. Okay, so what's the main idea? I'll just be the writer. So you tell me the main idea. Yeah.
You mean the three part combined together?
Kind of. I mean, you can get it by doing commas. You can say it affects people's, future in what? Having a job and keeping a job and staying healthy and something. So you could do commas, it affects people in this way, and in this way, right? That would be okay. What should the main noun be, or the subject? Yeah. So why don't we just start out with that word? So illiteracy. Illiteracy what? What does it do? Mhm. People's future. Did you say? Did you say future? No. Okay. Affects people's. Man, what do they affect people's what? Health? Okay. What else? You don't know? Oh. Mhm. And their ability. What'd you say? Ability is good. Ability to what? Okay, good. Okay, so maybe that's a really good beginning of a main idea. I think sometimes we like to, anyway, when you write about a main idea, especially if it's complex, usually you try to stick in as many adjectives as you can and really try to get as much as you can out of the main idea. So I'll add something, and then maybe you guys can try to add 1 or 2 more details to make it a little bit more detailed of a main idea. So for me, I'm going to add education, and, okay, so this is and ability to find, and I'm going to say, and do well. I don't know how to say it. Be and properly I guess, to find and properly do their jobs. People's, yeah. Well, I guess properly do jobs. And properly do jobs, right? Because it's not about just finding a job, but it's also about doing a job properly and with the right skills. And so, you see how I did that? Find and properly do job. I want to say execute. So illiteracy affects people's health. How does it affect their health? In a little bit more of a specific way. So we said ill. You can get very ill or die from incorrect prescription use. So instead of saying health, we can use a phrase, right? What's something that we can say?